I'm Jan Karon, author of the Mitford series, here to wish the Smithsonian Libraries a very happy 50th birthday. I'm Jan Karon, author of the Mitford series, here to tell you why I absolutely love libraries. I was 10 years old and I went to my first public library. The only other library I'd ever been in was at school, a little country school in a cotton mill town at the foot of the mountains in North Carolina. Well, this was a big deal for me because it was in town, this library. I had never even crossed a city street. So my grandfather let me do it, but he stood and watched me while I walked with the light. I went up the hill at a pace and I entered this library. My heart was pounding. I loved books. I'd been reading since I was 5 years old. So I walked into the library and I was just stunned by how huge it was. Of course, it really wasn't huge. I went back years later and it was so small. But to me, it was the world. But I didn't exactly know, the Dewey Decimal System and all of that. I didn't know what to do with it. Anyway, a librarian had been observing me, and she walked over, and here's what she said. It was life-changing. She said, "My dear, I think you might enjoy Girl of the Limberlost." Girl of the Limberlost. That's the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard in my life. And she said, and then there's another one I think you might enjoy. Lorna Doone. Well, I was just blown away. So I went out of that library, again, my heart pounding. I could hardly wait to go across the street and sit on the steps of the First Methodist Church where my family went to church every Sunday morning with my 2 books. And I opened Girl of the Limberlost and began to read. Now, a lot had happened to me in my 10th year. Somebody said, I always thought it was James A.G., but someone says it wasn't. James A.G. said, "Do what made you happy when you were 10 years old." Well, reading made me happy when I was 10 years old. And it was reading, of course, that made me want to be a writer, which I am today. And it's the most joyful, happy, excruciating thing I've ever done in my life. Happy birthday, Smithsonian Libraries, and to all the librarians out there.